they are not to the talent level that they were at their peak. Are they close, though?
To say at their peak might be that's such a high bar that they set at the time, and in the ways that we've probably all watched, or maybe even just presumed that Clemson has fallen off from there. And again, it may be hard for them to ever get back there, but the ways in which that program has remained resistant to NIL and some of the changes we've seen, and using the transfer portal, that has certainly held them back in recent years on the field. But I think we're now seeing as good a roster as they've had since that era. And it's what made this offseason so fascinating with them was that, they'd had a couple losses, but so much of that team was so young that they were going into the offseason, I think, really feeling like they had to retain their guys, because really easy to get picked off when you have young talent on your roster, but then really only needing to fill a few holes. And they did that. Their rare portal moves were ones that were very much focused, very specific. They didn't go crazy at filling the holes they had from a team that made the playoff last year and comes back now with a quarterback who's experienced and made big strides last year, year two with an offensive coordinator, a really supremely talented wide receiver group. And so they sort of were very picky and selective in how they did things, which I think, it's always been the case of how they've operated in their off seasons and their roster management. But I think, this is probably as good as it's been at any point since those, peak Clemson teams. And they did in selective ways get better through the portal this year.